Cherie, welcome to our March Madness interview. I'm so excited to see you. How are you
Hey,
doing? Where are you at today?
I'm in Brooklyn. I am at my home, my apartment in Williamsburg, and happy to be here to interview with you, Karen, for March Madness. So thank you.
Yeah, I had the chance to see one of your videos, and you have the New York skyline in the background. And just like it looks like a drawing or something. It's really beautiful.
Yeah, it's kind of it's pretty cool. I'm very lucky to have like a patio and to have that view too. It's pretty awesome.
That's not bad. How's New York been during a pandemic where you can't kind of go out? You keep insane?
Well, like the beginning of the pandemic, obviously, I mean, we were like ground zero for like all the, learning about the COVID. And, I remember my last hockey game. I was playing in a co-ed league. I think it was like the second week of March on a Tuesday. And then my work was like, oh, we're gonna, COVID's happening. Like you might rotate in 2 days in, 2 days off, every 2 weeks or something like that. And then it was like full shutdown. We all were shut down. So once that was there, I feel like the year has been like 3 years. It's been just a really long year. And, I started playing hockey again probably in like, I would say like May or June, playing some like co-ed scrimmages. But other than that, like we've been just social distancing, working remote, doing the right thing.
Yeah, it's tough, right? For me, I think time like slowed down immensely and then like would speed up and then would like slow down and then speed up in these like random times of the last year. And so it's been hard to like see like everything's kind of jumbled together too because you're always in the same place. So it's
Yeah.
hard to, you're working in the same place, you're sleeping in the same place, you're working out in the same place, you're like watching TV in the same place. So
Yeah.
it's been wild for sure.
I was
Uh,
lucky actually to go to OBX for the summer as well. So I took like a 3 month hiatus and worked remotely with some of our friends down south. So that was pretty good being near the beach.
wow, fantastic.
These periods of the year where it's like where we were in March to like OBX and then like coming back to New York and just trying to figure out this whole COVID remote situation. Yeah, it's been a marathon for sure. So
I'm actually in Las Vegas right now, so I did kind of the same thing. I've been driving across the country and spending a few months here and there because I've been remote all year. So chasing the sun a little bit and getting some nice weather has been incredible in a crazy situation.
yeah.
What's
Well, I guess
OBX?
that's hockey. Huh?
What's OBX?
The Outer Banks.
Very
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Cherie, how did you get into hockey and what kind of hockey do you slash did you play?
Um, I started playing roller hockey when I was growing up. In my neighborhood, we had some Western Canadians move next door, and the Mighty Ducks movie was very, very popular. And my older brother was starting to play hockey out in the street, and I remember me, my dad, and my brother going to a mall to get hockey equipment for my brother. And I was sitting there super jealous, going like, why can't I have shiny equipment of, hockey? I didn't even know. I just wanted the equipment. And from there on, I, got some roller skates and was playing roller hockey, playing at the school. And then I got into the YMCA and just, being a young kid, like playing roller hockey. I then got approached to play ice hockey, started playing ice hockey when I was around 13. And then finally there wasn't a lot of women's hockey because it was very, it was just like you're the one girl on the boys team. And so I finally found I played for Team California. And so it really was just roller hockey and ice hockey. And until I moved to New York after college, I got introduced to ball hockey. So those are the three main sports that I play. I love all three of them equally, sometimes more than the other, depending on the performance. And I played soccer in high school. Also, I played some lacrosse when I was in prep school. You had to do like sports like every season. And so they were like, hey, you're athletic, play lacrosse. And it actually was really, really fun. And I think learning lacrosse too was actually with soccer, lacrosse, and then ball hockey. I think it translated really well. So with the footwork.
Yeah, I totally can see that because with ice hockey, like I came from ice hockey specifically, never really played a running sport. And
Yeah.
I'm like, so like constantly just like forget to move my feet because I'm like, oh, I'm gliding, but like you're actually not, you're just not moving anymore. And it's like a totally different kind of like movement pattern. So I can see how the merging of those would be really cool.
Yeah.
So was your brother older?
Yeah, he's 4 years older than me, and he was phenomenal hockey player in the community. And he played juniors. He went to college, played hockey there too. So, um, I was always competitive with my brother because he's with all the guys in our neighborhood. I wanted to have the best shot. And we would just play till the sun goes down. But yeah, I grew up playing hockey because of my brother playing hockey.
Yeah, that's really cool. I think that's like it's been a theme actually in these interviews of having like siblings that played, especially older siblings that like make you want to be like that much better.
Yeah.
Um, in New York City, do you play in men's leagues, co-ed leagues, or women's leagues, or a mix of them for ball hockey?
For ball hockey, I play right. Well, we're scrimmaging now because there's like no leagues like right now. But like what I was playing was a co-ed league called District 5. It was in 96 and First in Manhattan that my friend Alex Frey and Jen Popak they run. It's somewhat competitive and it's a co-ed league. It's on a roller rink. It's great. And then we have this BTSH league in Lower East Side that is pretty popular. It's been out for, I think, like 20 years, 20 teams. There's legacy, there's many different decades of players that come through the rankings there. And it's a fun league. I think it's more social. But it's every Sunday, and that's how I learned how to play ball hockey. I kind of accidentally got into ball hockey because I was refing and coaching an ice hockey program out in the Skyliners in Long Island City, and one of the coaches was like, "Hey, can you sub in one of the ball hockey games for me?" And I thought it was roller hockey, so I brought my roller hockey gear to this rink, and lo and behold, it was just people running with a orange ball and stick. So that was the first time I knew I figured out what ball hockey was, and then I've been.
Um, that's incredible. I didn't know that story. What did you have shoes with you like that were like sneakers you could play, or were you just kind of like winging
Yeah,
it?
I just like had my like warm up. I just had like sneakers because I was like going to the rink, and then I saw that we didn't need roller skates, so I played. I hated it. I don't think I think I actually didn't want to go to some of the games again, and then I gave it another chance, and yeah, I got on a team, and it stuck. So
Yeah, what would you say like did you play in mostly boys leagues out west as well, or
yeah,
growing up
yeah.
exclusively?
It was like playing squirts to peewees. Like I was the only girl on the team. There's also this like overager kind of like I had 1 year I could be older than the boys, from squirts to peewees, and wreaked havoc in those leagues. And played competitively at Narch. It's like a North American roller hockey championships, and we travel across the country, play teams from all over, and I would play, you know, competitively there as the only girl on a boys team.
Do you think that how do you think that shaped your play? Like just growing up playing with boys and then continuing some of the men's leagues for ice and ball and stuff like that and co-ed leagues and stuff.
You just know that you're the only one, you're the only token girl, and you want to be respected, and you want to make sure that I'm always competitive. I want to be on the first, second line, third line. I just want to be out there. And I don't want it to be a factor that, since I'm a female, but I'm still really good, I should be out there with the boys. And the boys, most of the time, they're pretty reasonable. I've had a lot of great friendships going through teams, and I never really had that much of a factor. But it did change. Like when we, got older, it was like the guys were getting bigger, and I was kind of staying the same. But then finally, I found competitive women's hockey right around like 14, 15, and I was like in heaven. because these girls share the same story, being the only female on a team, and and whatnot. So we were together. So
Yeah, that's really cool. How would you describe yourself as a player? Like, what kind of hockey player are you?
I would say that I think I'm like finesse, I guess. I don't know. Like my backward skating is terrible, but I think for me, I like to be a playmaker. That makes me happy. But I've been a scorer mostly on teams. I feel like that's my role, and going through the ranks on teams, I feel like I'm that like calming presence on a team. I like to have a lot of fun too. So it's like, I'm not really taken too seriously at times, but also it's like you can come to me and, have a chat and, just a good teammate, hopefully. I mean, what do you think, Karen? Am I a good teammate or?
I'm gonna pump your tires a little bit in just a second. But before we go there, I was just curious, like, you are like a really fun player to be around. Where do you get your sense of humor?
Where do I get my sense of humor? I don't know, Karen. Like, I have no idea. I'm just happy that I make people laugh, and I think my backward skating is probably my like main claim to fame for laughter on the ice. But as far as ball hockey, it's just like not taking things too seriously, I mean, get serious when it's, game time, but ultimately just keeping it cool and keeping it calm.
Yeah, it's interesting for my own like personal journey in like competitive hockey. I think I like was drawn because I'm like a generally serious person. I was like really drawn to that of like I gotta like really focus and like get in the zone and like put my headphones in and like talk to no one before a game. And I tried that for a while and I played so bad like when I would try that. And then when I just like loosened up and would play like hacky sack or soccer or whatever before a game or just pass the ball around, I was so much looser and could like really just play like and have a good time with it. That's all, for me, that's what I'm here for is to have a good time. And of course I'm competitive, but like I also really want to have a great time. So here's where I'll pump your tires, Cherie. You have one of the hardest shots in the women's game, like by far. I've always admired that and definitely been scared also to like stand in front of the net for any drills that I'm a teammate, like for any practice drills. Because I just know the size of the bruise from a Cherie slap shot on like a thigh is goes for like, a month. So and your shot is not only like hard but like also very accurate. So in some senses I'm like, oh, she's probably not going to hit me because she's like, she's super accurate. I mean, that's really cool and I've always admired that. But I would also say like you said, the first part of your identity, you said you're a playmaker. And I think I would add to that, you're like a clutch playmaker. Like you make plays in big games. And like I was just thinking back to some of the tournaments I've had the privilege of playing with you on, and you had an assist in Bermuda when we went for Masters in the championship game. You had an assist in a game where we were down by Slovakia, 1-0 to Slovakia to tie us up. And it was a must-win game. We lose, we go home. You had a goal in the final loss to Canada in the last Worlds. You had a goal in our overtime loss to the Czech Republic, tying up the game in the last like couple minutes. Like that's just incredible. Like how do you like think of that, and like how do you get so clutch, I guess, and so tuned in the moments that like your team really needs that?
I think for me, it's always been those high pressure situations where, yeah, there's a lot of fun to be had and you want to be cool, calm, collected. But like when it comes down to the minutes left in the game, I feel like there's this like meditation or like this zone that I get into where I'm confident in my ability. I could tell the coach, I'm like, please put me in because I'm ready to deliver on the role that I'm supposed to be in. And these are high pressure situations. I do it in co-ed leagues in New York City to internationally with the USA ball hockey program. It's been kind of like a thing that I've had. And I think once you've been put in situations like that, opportunities, and you seize the moment, and hopefully it goes in, and we win the game. So I don't know what it is. It's like you get into a zone, and I want to be out there. Give me the ball, or I'm going to give it to the person who's going to get the ball into the net, and just plug away.
Is there anything like that you can point to from uh, growing up, like just playing growing up, like playing games with family, or playing games like just at local leagues or something, that you're like, actually, I think that's where I got my confidence, or I think that's like where I was practicing X, or has this just kind of like developed over time? I'm always curious about that.
Sure. Uh, I think it's just development of your abilities over time. I mean, you just develop as a player as you, even after college, and playing professionally with the NWHL, and to just like playing co-ed leagues and stuff like that. And you get put in these situations, and you just continually know your abilities, of like what you can offer to the team, and those are your strengths, and you play to your strengths. And you know when to set aside when you're like another player, you believe in their abilities and strengths, like that person go out there and hopefully we win the game. I don't know a particular time in my career that I like experienced that it just kind of happened. I think it's just over a course of years of being in those situations and being more comfortable with it, and seizing it.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's like it's not something that everyone has, like ability to just turn it on and like make that shot hit the net in the last like couple minutes, and it's really something that's like super admirable. And you can just tell with like all the hockey that you've played that's like an asset that I think is a coaches can like look for and like plug into a team, and like it's just something that it's hard to like put into words, but that asset of like knowing, being able to turn it on in that last moment, or turn it on in that power play, it's just like it's incredible. So I'm curious, what advice would you give to your 20-year-old self?
Oh wow, is this the odd question?
The curveball.
All right. 20-year-old Cherie. Wow, this is like stop partying. No, basically, uh, don't take things so seriously. Like I think I took things a lot personally, in hockey. Things are not going to go your way. You're going to lose games. Teammates, you're not agreeing with, and you take it to heart. And I think for myself, I would just say move within that. Nothing's perfect. um the What you're feeling now is temporary, and that if you get criticism, it's meant to help you. And if there's people in your circle, just shows you who needs to be in your circle and who doesn't. So like, is it serving you well versus not serving you well? So just cut the fat and move on, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's super interesting.
Yeah.
um I You talked a little bit about like being that only female player on like an all men's team, but there's also an element too of like when I come to hockey, I come as a white female to like a sport that's predominantly white, right? And so there's also this piece of you're coming in as a black player to potentially, most likely, a team that's predominantly white. And then we've just talked about all your like accolades. Like you played college hockey, college ice hockey, right? You have all these accolades around like first and second team All-American, like first Black player to do that, ECAC Rookie of the Year, Player of the Year, as a Black female, highest ranking Black player for like you're like 13th, 11th, 10th, 7th, and 16 overall in like points, goals, assists, like all these things, right? Like that's an incredible experience. So tell me something a little bit about that experience as a Black player in a sport that's predominantly white, and then around some of the work that you're doing. Because you were talking about Black History Month when we talked last as well.
Sure. Thanks, Karen. And for you don't really know when you're in it. So like when I was in college, I wasn't really thinking of like, oh, I'm the first or this or that. You just want to get through your career in school, and contribute as much as you can. And, obviously we wanted to win the, NCAA's championship. Obviously Middlebury, y'all were victorious, but you guys are a really good program.
I think
But
we versed Manhattanville like multiple years in a row. I think we overlapped maybe like a year or something, but yeah, it's just such a fun league and that rivalry ran pretty strong for
yeah,
many years.
yeah, I remember that pretty well. So, but like now it's like when you're, more further down the road in your career and you're seeing what's going on in the WHL, and then you have the NHL campaigns for, increasing awareness for people of color to join this amazing sport, share it with people of, different communities, diverse communities. And I just like where we're going. Um, Being a player, I definitely experienced some adversity. I definitely know when I walk into a locker room for the first time, if I'm a sub player, like I don't know if they're looking at me because I'm a female. I don't know if they're looking at me because I'm a half black, half Asian player, or I'm an LGBT person. It's just pick your poison. And I just understand that I have to be just myself, be a great teammate, and just move along and play hockey, because that's what we're here to do. But yeah, I mean, it was hard at times, but other times I just kind of let my hockey experience show on the rink, and you gain the respect that way. I've done that my whole career. There's only been minor things down, not minor, but there's like, as far as the amazing experience that hockey has brought my community, my friends, my family, like I feel like I have such great things in my life because of hockey, and like traveling the world for hockey. And then there's like these pockets of, adversity situations. I won't let that cloud that. But I believe that seeing more Black women players, especially playing in college hockey, playing professionally, like Blake Bolden, Soroya, this is great to see, because I did not have someone that I looked up to, a women's hockey player. I didn't really know about Angela James. And then her story has really come through in the last couple years. And I'm just like, why am I just hearing about this now? But I'm glad that people are talking about amazing legacy players like Angela James in Canada and what she's done for the sport.
Yeah, was she like tell me more about her, because I think I saw her in I was in Nashville. We were looking and they were like telling her story. She's like an incredible player, but I had never heard about her either until a few years ago.
I just
And
know she's this dominant player in Canada, and like had all these record holders, and you just somehow, some way, didn't really hear about her. But you heard about other players that, kind of caught wind, and, like Carrie Granado, Manon
yeah.
Rion, like you hear those players, but you,
Mm,
you don't hear about like someone like Angela James and what she's done for the game.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, that's it's interesting. Like, yeah, just kind of how that all plays out. And I think the context of me seeing her was like a hockey is for everyone, like highlighting people of color that have played the sport. So it wasn't like I even heard about her in a context that wasn't around celebrating people of color. So it's interesting. What have you seen in terms of like, growth in the game for people of color? Like, what is your view of hockey sort of now? And I also wonder, are there any differences between your experience in ball hockey versus your experience in ice hockey versus roller hockey?
Um, well, roller hockey for me, I mean, growing up in California, I mean, I didn't really see, it was like me and my brother basically. But there was other, people, like brown people, like Asian people I would see, but not really like African American. But when you do see a Black player, we do have this like invisible like nod of like, all right, hey, what's going on? Because we don't really see it that often. And you're just happy because you're just like, wow, like, the sport is growing. And that's how I feel when I go to a hockey rink, even now. You go to Chelsea Piers in New York City, and I play beer league hockey, and it's usually just me and, a bunch of, different, like white men and me and maybe a couple of female hockey players, but then it's like you see a Black player, it's like, okay, like, you know, it's expanding. um I think for ball hockey too, it's like the same with ice hockey. It's like I'm still have to see it in the rinks. But as far as like the NHL, there's a lot more representation of Black players in the NHL, and that is really exciting. Even the AHL level, minors, and you know what they're doing is showing awareness of these players, and that's important. Not just the one or two, but like expanding other players. You know, Quentin Byfield being drafted by the Kings second overall. I mean, Seth Jones. These are PK Subban. I mean, these are players that are not only just, you know, they're normal players like everybody else, but like they're actually pretty high end as well. So it's, and Jerome McGillna, I've never, you know, cannot forget him too.
Yeah, Wayne Simmons, and there's I'm forgetting the other dude's name. But I just watched the Willie O'Ree documentary. Have you seen that yet?
It's parts of it, but yeah,
Okay.
we obviously, I mean, Willie's absolutely amazing. So, and what they do with the campaign for Black History Month, and you know, with
Yeah.
Bruin stuff like that, it's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely an interesting thing to watch, because you see his experience being the first Black player in the NHL, and then they do talk to a lot of the current players as well, and talk about their experiences, you know, however many years later, like 50 years later or something like that. And it's just fascinating to kind of see how things have evolved, and stay the same in some ways. So it's definitely worth a watch. I think it's like a $5 or something to rent, but it's totally worth it. So I'll make a plug for the Willie O'Ree documentary.
Yeah.
Um, I was curious, like in terms of your experience, like playing on a team that has other players of color versus a team that doesn't. Like, does that change at all, or is there like a difference on a team like that, or it's kind of just teams are teams and everything has their own dynamics?
Um, I don't, you know, it's just I try not to think of it like that. But I guess if I were to say, playing with Leanne on the USA women's team, I mean, that felt good. Like you know, me and Leanne connected, and you know, she was the first other Black player to be on the same team together, and I think that was pretty special. I don't think it doesn't really, you know, stick out. But then if when you we ask me a question like that, yeah, it's cool. But other than that, I mean, I did connect with, you know, teammates. We get along. You know, Black, white, purple, whatever. You know, we like the same music or not. Um, but it is, you know, it's just cool to feel that like, okay, there's someone that looks like you or has the same complexion or melanin skin like you, and a sense of belonging in that regard. But again, it's more to come, you know, more experiences that need to embrace in the locker room. Different shades of color in the locker room would be great. Um, but
Mm-hmm.
essentially, it's like I don't really think like that. I guess.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, that's thanks for sharing that. I think uh our teams from the last couple of worlds have had like something special to them, which is like there's just been like a mix that's been like pretty special. I can't remember which interview I was talking about, but like one year we came from behind like every game at Worlds or something like that. I think it was in like 2017 in Czech Republic, but like that mix there of like having people feel like they have a role, they have like a community, they contribute to the team, is really special, because it's hard to do. And add a layer, like really that was the first time we had all been together. We had some practice and stuff, but not everyone was there. And so
Yeah.
that's kind of the first time you're all physically in the same place and like getting that team together and for like a 10-day tournament. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Um, have you ever dealt with a long stretch of playing or not playing hockey, kind of like we're in right now? And if so, like how are you dealing with it, and how have you dealt with it in the past?
Um, I've been lucky in my career to not really have like we've had like bumps and bruises. I have to say the type of player I am, I do not like going in front of the net unless I have to. So I don't like blocking shots. I'm pretty bad at that. I mean, don't tell the new coach, but yeah, it's fun. I let the other professionals handle that, but I did get injured over just like wear and tear. I had a fracture in my tibia last year, so it kind of timed it right around like before the pandemic. Around like October, November, I started seeing some specialists for my injury, and then like COVID hit around March, and I was still playing on the injury, but that was supposedly like my gap of not playing. So it kind of aligned with, what we were going through, which was like somewhat like my doctor saying, like, you're kind of lucky because it's forcing you not to, play hockey. Cause I would have played in the pain. I'm a bad, like addicted to hockey kind of person. But it was getting pretty bad. So, like I had to take a break there, but like everybody else did as well. And how am I dealing with it? Well, I actually went and played in a tournament last weekend for the first time competitively at Feasterville, when Jason Kelly's tournament, and playing in a mask. I mean, that's new for me in a level of competition like that, but it absolutely necessary for me as a player to play in a mask, and that was difficult at some point, but overall it was fine, because you're indoors breathing on a rink. So it's like, and you're huffing and puffing. The timing was different a little bit. The battle level to get back into battle level shape in the corners, being gone from hockey and not playing with a referee, and the stakes are high. um, but I feel like I'll be better for the next tournament once safety procedures and things get more comfortable and people get more vaccinated. So I'm treating it as such, like I am in line with the other players. So we're all on a hiatus, and we're coming back, and hopefully safely, in the next year or two, we can competitively play internationally. So
Yeah, that's good to think of, like everyone's kind of coming back from this. And I know too, like there's no shape like hockey shape. Like you can train all you want, but like when you actually get out there and sprint and battle, there's like no training you can really do for that. Like that has to come back with playing.
yeah,
So those first couple of games back are you just like huffing and puffing and like standing there trying to get your breath back?
yeah. It's different in scrimmages because I've been playing in scrimmages in New York City with a mask on, but it's like you're playing with your friends, and we're not going so hard in the net, or to the net, or we're not driving, and it's kind of casual. And so going back to competition and tournament play, it's a whole different ball game right there. So, and playing in a mask, and like I said, you have to be in shape. So, but I'm willing to do it just like everybody else. Hopefully, we get back safely. So.
Yeah, it'll be such a privilege. I haven't played yet. It'll be such a privilege to get back to it.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that you can keep up, right? Like we're all kind of various levels of stuck at home. One of the things you can keep up is stick handling. You don't need much of space to kind of do that, work on your hands while you're watching TV or whatever. What advice do you have for folks who are trying to keep up their stick handling despite not being able to play as often as they would like to?
Well, I mean, wherever you're located, obviously, I'm jealous that you're in Vegas, and so you have the sun and you have like the asphalt that you could go rollerblading. Just keeping up your fitness, like things that you can do at home and things that you can run. But also with stick handling, I mean, I'm lucky to have like a patio outside, so I definitely, I'm working remote, but then I need to take a break mentally. I'll go outside and take some shots on my little net. Um, and rollerblade across the bridges, taking walks. All of this is like, it's cumulative that you just keep doing things that benefit you in athletic ability, and then your hand eye. It's like you just, with your ball hockey handling and stick handling, it's like you just get the touches on. Um, and then if you have a friend that you like to social distance with, bring in, have a scrimmage outside in a basketball court or something like that. Just passing around, shooting, or shooting on at a court, and like just bounce back and just keep your hand-eye coordination up. So that's what I can say for people if they are committed to staying in shape during this time.
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned just like general athleticism too, and like kind of just keeping that up generally, because you become a better athlete, you become a better player, right? And it's not always about sport specific, but if you can cross train a little bit, I hadn't thought about that in relation to stick handling, but super important. I can't believe I forgot this question though. Like, how did you get your shot. your your
Oh,
shot is so hard and so accurate,
um,
both in ball hockey and ice hockey. So like, how did you do that?
I can't tell you my secrets, Karen.
You
Like,
can't tell me, but you could tell the world.
no, like, well, actually, at this tournament, I like couldn't get a shot on net to save my life. I was kind of upset with him. I'm like, look, I'm like missing the net. I'm like, what is going on? But you know, when I started playing roller hockey outside, I just had the technique to shoot and have full form with it, and just letting this chaotic amazing form, I guess, like what slap shots are. It's like you just it might not look pretty, but you get to the net really hard, really fast, accurate. I don't take like hundreds of shots of slap shots. I don't. But I would say that my ice hockey slap shot is better than my ball hockey slap shot, which is it's just, you know, a heavier puck. I can, you know, really try to control it. Ball hockey, it's just so hard to just get that on it. But when it gets on it and it scores, you look cool doing it. So um I don't know. I'm just lucky, I guess. I don't know. Like I can't really help anybody unless, you know, it's like we're face to face and like talking about a shot. Can't just say it on a Zoom call like, okay, then my apologies.
Did
Um
uh did you learn the technique from somewhere, or was it just like trial and error and you kind of were like, this is what works for me?
I think it was just more of the latter, like what works for me. Just shooting, to getting one times for my brother, and you know we had this like handball court, and there was like two lines, and I guess I was practicing, but like I would try to hit my like puck like right on the line, so I'd be like farther back on the handball court, just taking slap shots and trying to hit these lines. So I guess I was essentially practicing, but to me it's just like we're playing pig or something with friends and you're just trying to win, right? But the form was just kind of like it just happened. I really can't really say. And I see people in the NHL, like the women NWHL, like people have such phenomenal shots. And what works for you, the form that you have, I mean, just getting it on net, and getting full force of it too, like the full swing of it, because some people do like like the snapshot, right? Because there's not a lot of time out there, but to fully wind up and like really get it accurate, I mean, that's something that like um it's a little luck but a lot of skill too, and just keep working at it, you know. So
Yeah, that's good advice in terms of like get it to be your own, and also there's this element of competition too in play. I think that's there of like you kind of like have to be enjoying what you're doing. Like going out and shooting 100 pucks is not super enjoyable, but if you make a game out of it or it's competitive with like a sibling like
yeah.
that, you can do for hours, you know. So it's like this balance between that. um so tell us a little bit about your week of stick handling. What can people expect?
Well, I peeked at the other players, and I feel like we're overlapping a little bit. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna do some ball handling with like doing deceptive moves against a defenseman or player. So it's like it's just building on doing a move. So I have like one where I'm doing under the stick. So one of the moves that I like to do in ice hockey, I think I do a lot better in ice hockey than ball hockey, but just, you know, coming from your backhand. Oh, sorry, Karen. My computer's like dying.
Oh no, we gotta
Yeah.
wrap up. What else can they expect?
Uh, yeah, just like deceptive moves. It's just building through deceptive moves. But for ball hockey especially, it's like just go north south. Just get to the net, shoot it really hard. Hopefully it goes in. I don't know what else to say. So you'll see in the videos.
I'm looking forward to it. I have one question before your computer dies.
Yeah,
What's one thing you're especially grateful for?
grateful for. My amazing partner, my health, my dogs, hockey. One thing I can't really say with, of course, my wife.
You have a whole list here to be grateful for. But thank you so much. Got the motorcycles in the background. Thank you so much, Cherie, for sharing all that you shared today, and then for putting together some awesome stick handling videos for March Madness. I really appreciate it, and I know we're gonna have some players that are able to practice and they know what to aspire to with all your accolades. So
Thanks. I appreciate it. No worries. Let me know if you need any help with anything else. Thank you.
sweet. Thanks so much, Cherie.